you're talking to kids, coworkers, husbands, or friends, everyone wants to be heard, and most importantly, everyone wants to be understood. My next guest says a careful word choice can strengthen your impact and make you a stronger communicator. Joining me is Dr. Jennifer Cummings, a communication professor and consultant at the University of Utah. It's great to see you.
Thanks.
I'm intrigued by this topic because we're talking about subtle changes in our speech and vocabulary that you say really can make a difference.
Right, just small changes, sometimes just eliminating one word or a phrase that's making what we're about to say less powerful.
Well, and I think I know the answers to this question, but I'll ask it anyway. What's more important, what we say or how we say it?
I know, they're both important, and we always talk about nonverbal being more impactful, that it has more of an impression on people, which is true. What I want to talk about today, though, are little words and phrases that take away from the message that we're about to say. And they do tie into the nonverbal in how we say everything that we're saying as well. So it's both.
Okay. I've got a pre-scripted sentence here. I'm going to bring to the table. It's a table read, people.
Yeah,
I'll put on my best actress. I'll channel my best inner actress. But I'll read this, and then it's kind of exaggerated, but it makes the point of where you're going. So here's the sentence. Sorry, I may be totally off, but I just kind of sort of feel like we might want to consider starting like maybe an hour earlier. Does that make sense? That's dripping with mistakes, you say.
Yeah. Well, I love that sentence because it packs in a lot of these things that we're talking about into one sentence. And you'll probably find, like me, that I do almost all of them. I was laughing about how many I wonder I'll do in this segment as we're talking about not doing them. But they're very difficult, so we can unpack that a little bit.
Okay, so the first lesson to take away from, again, that sentence or this topic, don't overuse the words sorry or thanks.
Yes. We tend to do this a lot before we start saying something. Sorry, what I was thinking is, and apologize before without a reason to apologize. So instead of sorry, sometimes when someone bumps us, we'll say sorry. The problem is not that it's a bad word, it's lovely, it's gracious, it's kind. The problem is when you overuse it, it gains less meaning, and so it becomes just a precursor to everything you say, and it kind of minimizes its value. So only if you really mean to say sorry or thanks, we're just going to trim them down so that when we do say them, they really mean something.
There's been a big push recently, especially directed, I think, toward females, toward women, to stop apologizing, to your point, right, and not using that word so often. I struggle with that concept for two reasons. One, I think it softens any message, right, which in this day and age where things are so volatile and hostile, is that really a bad thing? And then second, it's kind of a societal thing, isn't it? Like, everyone is saying sorry and thanks, and so if you don't say it, do you come off abrupt and a little too forward? I
think the difference is when intentional and sincerity. So I think we should use them and use them freely when you mean it. A lot of thanks, a lot of graciousness, and sorries when you mean it. I'm just talking about if it has nothing to do with anything. There was nothing to apologize for. There was no reason to be sorry. It more becomes just a habitual filler.
Got it, got it. All right, what if you want to be a little more decisive, a little more assertive in your communication? Where do we go wrong in that goal?
So in that sentence that you read, sometimes we talk about a little phrase that we'll add, like, I may be totally wrong on this, or this might be a stupid idea, or I might be crazy here. And before we've even given what we're going to say a chance, we've already discounted it. So if we want to seem more decisive, we could say, I have an idea that I really think might work, and then you can tell me if you disagree with it, or if you see any problems with it.
Oh, wow.
And that's much more powerful and inclusive, rather than saying, before you've even said it, this is probably a bad idea.
It's like we downplay ourselves before we've even presented the idea or the thought.
Right. And we're probably just trying to be humble and not bossy about it. But I think what we're saying is kind of, I said kind of, which is one of mine that
we're not going to go back and watch
that we're going to try to avoid.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do is stand up for our ideas and make them have merit and believe in them without pushing them on people. There's still room to disagree, there's still room to talk about it, but we don't want to minimize it before it's even had a chance to.
And not just ideas, but opinions, too, you point out. We undermine our own opinions when we use those softer, weaker phrases.
Yes.
That's where it can get a little uncomfortable, though, when you're expressing an opinion that may not be the popular opinion in the room.
Right. And there you can just say something like, here are my thoughts on it, and then I'd love to hear yours.
Nice.
Or here's what I'm thinking, and tell me if I've missed anything. Instead of saying, I'm probably way off here, but, and then you say it. So it's a way of respecting your own idea and still saying, I may be wrong, or I may have missed something, and you can help me fill in the gaps.
I like that, because you're still open. You're still humble to that point.
Right.
Do you find this is something women struggle with more than men?
Probably a little bit more. Yeah, women tend to speak in a very collaborative way, which is nice. It's inclusive, it's inviting, there's a lot of focus on equality, and it's a really lovely thing. So I would not say never do these things. I would never say that, because they're very warm, inclusive, feminine ways of speaking that we love. And they really, as you say, they're very polite and they keep our society going. What I'm saying is, when it's a conversation where you know you want to come off a little more assertive, or you want your idea to be heard, try minimizing these and keep the warmth. And that's the balance. People are really measuring us up on a couple of things: how competent we are and how warm we are.
So you can still lean in, make the eye contact, use those nonverbal warming cues while saying words that are strong and assertive. That might be a comfortable balance.
Right. I think that's why we use these sometimes, is to try to seem more approachable and friendly. And what we can do is be a little more firm in our idea and our speech, and add the warmth. Lots of warmth and caring and authenticity and eye contact, and let your voice convey that you're really open and accepting of their ideas as well. And that keeps the balance.
Quickly and finally, you say don't excessively seek for reassurance in your conversations if you want to be, heard a little more clearly.
Yeah, so sometimes we'll end a sentence with, am I making any sense? Or does this even sound, is this even understandable?
I'm smiling because I say all of these things.
Yeah, right, we all do.
Yeah.
I all do, and I do too. And again, the problem is not saying them ever. It's just if we're overusing them, using them as a crutch, and we're not really mindful about when we really want to use them.
So we'll rewrite that sentence that I read at the beginning of our conversation. How does this sound? We should consider starting an hour earlier. What do you think?
Yeah.
More punchy, more to the point, and more likely to be heard and respected in the end.
Right, and still open and inclusive, but you're stating your opinion clearly.
I love it. I feel like a better communicator already. Jennifer, thank you so much. Great to see you.